everybody, Ron here, and welcome to Ron Talks Tabletop Super Show Sunday, a podcast where I talk about my favorite game, Super Show the card game. Today, I have yet another special guest. So, please introduce yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian Schmidt, the consigliere, the SRG BOS, the hardest working man in the LFF, a former LFF World Heavyweight Champion. I got so many championships under my belt notch, I'm not going to list them all, but thank you, Mr. Ron Rumble, Ron Talks Tabletop, for having me on your show. Your show is just going to go in skyrocket after this episode. Trust me. Trust me. I bring all the views. I bring all the listens.
Oh, all right. Brian, I know that you do a whole bunch of things and you're involved in the Super Show community in a number of ways. But before we get into all of that, I want to ask a couple of get-to-know-you questions here. And my first question is, Brian, when and how did you get into Super Show?
So, Gen Con 50 was my first Gen Con I ever went to. I think it was 2017.
Yep.
So I was playing a game at the time versus 2PCG that was done by Upper Deck, and they were holding their big world champion. They were holding their big U.S. U.S. championship there, and I had some downtime in between events. The main event was on Saturday at like 3. I played in Monsters Unleashed, which was one of the sets you could draft from. So in between that and the main event, I saw it. I saw an ad. I'm walking through the main hallway. You know that long hallway that goes right to the merchandise at Gen Con?
Yep.
There was a big sticker about 3 feet by like 6 feet promoting the game, and it was in the gamer hall. So I was like, I'm a pro wrestling fan. At the time, I was doing our pro wrestling podcast, Royal Ramble Radio. If you want to go check it out, the archives are still up on iTunes. I walked over, I did a demo with Boss, and I was instantly hooked. Legitimately, instantly hooked to this game. I literally walked over to where they were selling stuff, and this is when they were selling the Chinese food containers.
Okay.
And they had a lot of indies as well, too. So I picked up one of my favorites at the time, Johnny Gargano, and I picked up 2 of the Chinese boxes and 2 of the Witch Hunter General box set that was out at that time. I was like instantly hooked. Like I wanted to play. Sage was there. She was running the store too. She's like, we play in Long Island at a store of Fire and Dice. I was like, I could try to get down there, but at the time I was living about 4 hours away from Long Island. So, there really wasn't a place for me to play the game. So it kind of just went on the back burner of what I had at the time. I went back 2018 to work for Play Fusion to help them debut their new card game, Age of Sigmar Champions. And where I was running our first ever event, which was about 98 people. Sorry, it was like 98 people. In the back corner to the right, I could hear the bell and Steve screaming his head off. I'm like, crap, I don't think I should do this next year. I think I'm just going to go and start going to play Super Show. When my podcast started taking off and stuff, that's when I contacted SRG to bring someone on to promote the game.
Okay.
And at the time, this was right around Steve's wedding, the bachelor party. Calais was gimmick-wise on suspension from being general manager, and he actually named your coach, Bada, as the interim general manager to the LFF. So if that's a little nugget of Super Show lore right there, that Calais was suspended for 2 weeks.
All right.
More than that, I think. And Bombada took over.
This was all in 2017?
This was 2018. 2018, 2019. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, so
so I had him on, and whenever SRG wanted to promote stuff, we went back and forth. The first Kickstarter that had Holotane in it, I think it was the Going Over. Bombada was like a regular on the show. He would call in a lot of times, talk with me and Tristan, who was my co-host at the time, and he would come on the show. It was a nice little thing getting to know. But then that's where I really like found Super Show. Like I didn't really start playing the game until I actually having like a working relationship almost with them.
Got it. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about your show production background. So
Yep.
you were running this podcast. Were you doing anything else?
Back in the day, I worked at a hospital primarily. I was
Uh-huh.
a front desk. I was a registration coordinator. I was basically registering people for surgeries. I was doing the front desk thing for so people can get, you know, you walk in, you see someone, they want to register you to go into the hospital. That's what I did.
Okay.
I did it from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then I literally told my wife, and I remember this conversation. We were in our kitchen cleaning up from dinner. I was like, babe, I'm sorry, but I can't work at the hospital anymore. She's like, why? I'm like, I come home, I'm angry. And she's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to do broadcasting. Like, this has always been my dream. I was a kid that sat in his room and took a tape deck, a tape boy, the thing from Home Alone 2,
Hmm.
put it up against a stereo, played music, and then I would put the tape that I just recorded in the cassette player. I had a two-deck cassette player. I would record my voice over the music as I was doing my own radio show. So that's what like that was the dream, but
Uh-huh.
it really didn't fall through. So she's like, "Go do what you got to do. We're perfectly fine the way we are right now." Cool. So I go to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, a year schooling, 5 nights a week, but you had access to everything. You got a chance to go into the city and see how it works, that type of thing. They trained you in there on all spectrums of broadcasting, whether it be for production, voiceovering, radio technician, radio engineering, all that stuff was all impacted into like a year course. And that's where I found my love. That's where I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to do. So since I wasn't really finding anything at the time, I started doing my own podcast because I love pro wrestling. So that's how everything like connected to it. What can I say?
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I wanted to explore your background a little
Yeah.
bit and see how they eventually tied into the whole thing with the Super Show. Obviously, Brian, you love the game, as
Yep.
so do I, so many of us. And the question is, like, what do you love about Super Show, and like, what are some of your favorite things about Super Show?
It's legitimately, and I've been saying this since like I came like full force in this game. It's the community. Like legitimately, you will never find a community like this in any any board game, card game, RPG, stuff like that. This community is more tight knit than I can't even explain it. Like
It's
it's we're like a family. We're like interacted. Like you don't choose your family comes to you. This is it. Like I can't you can't explain. It's really Ron. I would love to say I can explain it properly, but you can't. It's just it happens so naturally, and when you know it's the right feel, it's the right feel. It's
yeah,
right
you have
there.
to, yeah, you have to experience it.
Yeah. I've played so many games. I've played so many card games. I played tabletop miniatures. Whenever I would see something new, I'd be like, "Ooh, I'm going to go there. Let me sell all this stuff, and I'm going to go there." And then 1 year later, oh, that's there. Like sporadic. This game has kept me ingrained, not because I work for them. It's just I'm just ingrained because of the community and stuff. Like I get crap from everyone, but I don't care. Bombada, no joke, is the one that gives me the most crap in this game. Yes, I'd take a bullet for that guy in a heartbeat. I'd take a bullet for anyone in this community. But yeah, it's I'd take a bullet for anyone in this community. Seriously, this is just how this community is. Some may say it's not like really, family. Like we're a family either way. There may be divides. We may be on other sides of the country. You may be in the deep south. Maybe up here, upstate New York. But we're family. That's how it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to say, I was telling some guys on a call-in show last night, like last year at this time, I was a board game player that played Super Show.
Yeah.
And this year, I came to the realization recently that I am a Super Show player who plays board games. And and it's not about like the game, all about the community. Although I enjoy the game very, very much, it's the community that made this thing a thing, and it combines so many of my passions.
Yeah.
Because I am big into role playing games.
Yep.
Well, I have a character and that I act out. I engage in a story. There's even a deck resolution. It's like, yeah, this is my role playing campaign. This is my board game. Jeremy often says that tag team is like in Piglet that says it too. Tag team format is most like a board game, which is well, I can see. Yeah, so there's just so many things that Super Show encapsulates, and it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Brian, the reason why I primarily wanted you on the podcast is because I know that you have involvement within the company. So I wanted to talk about that. So, what is your involvement with Super Show, SRG and all of that stuff?
So primarily, I'm the streamer for the Super Show programming that we have on a weekly basis. So Dojo, Talking Universe, any random Friday nights and Sunday night fights, or if we have a big
Yeah.
announcement or we have to have the world title on a certain day, I'm the one that does that on a consistent basis. My predecessor, Bell, started the engine, and I'm still kind of continuing that engine for her. So without Bell, we wouldn't have Super Show on Twitch. I can tell you that right now. I'm continuing to try and expand what we're doing and going into YouTube and stuff, but it's taken a little more time for me to actually just do that. But a lot of our matches and our information for the Kickstarter and all this stuff gets uploaded to our YouTube. But
Right.
I primarily do the Twitch and the streaming. I do some graphics, meaning logos for competitors that are coming out. I do help with design sometimes. I kind of had a hand with the Kickstarter with a couple of things. So I'm more and more trying to get more into the design aspect of the game. I've had Steve reach out to me to help out and do stuff. So you could say I'm almost like his assistant when it comes to certain things, but more so what I do is the stream and some logos and stuff. I did your logo.
Yes, you sure did. Hey, so I want to talk about the individual shows. So the main shows are Sunday Night Fights,
Yep.
Tuesday Night Dojo, Talk of the Universe is on Wednesday night,
Uh-huh.
and Expanding the Universe, which is on
Thursday morning.
Thursday mornings. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about each individual show real quick. What is Sunday Night Fights?
So Sunday Night Fights, I'll give credit to Steve on this, is a platform, place where you can play your rivals, finish out a story. That kind of platform that merged into the premiere showcase for Super Show.
And I know aside from the actual participants in the matches themselves, and of course you running everything with production, there's another aspect to it. You have a commentary team,
Yep.
usually one or two people, or maybe three people. Like, how did that come about? Well, like, how do you,
So
yeah, how did that
so
work?
that happened. So initially it was myself and my friend, my good friend Lauren, who were doing Lucky Cat Echo, who were doing the commentary for Sunday Night Fights. She had a lot of other things happening in her life where she had to take a break and take a step back. So I saw Rambo, I saw Brock. Brock was in the prime wave at the time, and Simon's really one of my good friends in this game. I was like, listen, you guys want to do commentary for these matches? You let me know. There you get. There's your Sunday Night Fights crew, and then we had the truest iteration was Law giving his picks as well too. He was going to do a video with Father Light doing picks and stuff too, but it went more towards him live at his bar at his house. And then there were a couple of nights he couldn't make it, but I got Misfit because he was doing at the time. I was like, listen, you're doing really good stuff with your cartoon stuff. Can I bring you on for Sunday Night Fights and give your predictions, something like that? He's like, hell yeah. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
So a lot of things can change, but Sunday Night Fights will be like a staple as long as I'm around.
right. Yeah, and I am asking these questions and all this kind of stuff because
Mm.
there might be people that are like new to Super Show in the community or
Yeah.
that don't know what Super Show is at all and stumbled on this podcast and just wanted to go into it a little bit so that people understand what's going on. So Sunday Night Fights, the premiere show. I mean, you got the segment with right now, as it stands right now, as we're recording,
Yep.
the Misfit doing the predictions for the matches. And
Yep.
then you have the matches, one, two, or three matches and you have the commentary team just like in real wrestling.
Yep. This
Um,
is legitimately to mirror what if you're a pro wrestling fan, Sunday Night Heat was, or Shotgun Saturday Night. That's what this was. This was the intent for the show, to be something similar to that to give back to the community. So we have that type of stuff. It's supposed to be a staple where you can come and do your matches. That was the whole intention, but now it's evolved into something much larger. I love it. I love bringing new stuff in. I love doing other things. I have ideas for other segments on the show, but gotta be wrestling themed and stuff too. So it's the ideas are there. It's just pushing them in and getting them done.
All right. So let's move on to the next show in the week, and that's Tuesday Night Dojo. So what's the deal with Dojo?
Dojo was not my initial inception. That was not my idea. So Dojo came around the time, the beginning of the pandemic. Someone wants to correct me, please be my guest. I remember seeing John Polverino and the boss on Twitch for people to play cards, and you would basically play for a card and it would go on sale for $1. You used to be able to get like a $10, a $15 card for $1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's changed very drastically since then. But it was an idea that Polverino and Boss had. Play cards, put on sale, play it forward. The whole idea, play it forward. Polverino's and Boss's baby. And when Polverino, quote unquote, became a member of the Postal Nation, that's when I took it over and we just went from there. We had a staff about a year and a half, 2 years. The dojo at the end of like 2021 was going to the sewer. I talk with Calais and I talk with Boss about this. I'm like, I'm bringing two people on to be a constant members of the dojo staff. Jeremy's going to come on and he's going to be the referee. And I bring in Chris Pate and I bring in the Italian Bobata. Now, this was probably the best time the dojo had. They played on dojo. They were dojo staff for over a year and a half. And the dojo didn't really see what we're seeing right now, which is the on again, off again people coming on. It was a good time, but now we are at the point in the dojo where we're moving around staff, weekly staff. It's a pain in the butt sometimes scheduling. It is.
We'll get into talking about challenges and stuff in a moment. I want to continue to step through here. All right, so that's Dojo on Tuesday night. So I'm already realizing like, okay, that's two shows we're talking about.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
Now we're about to talk about the third show that you do, Talk of the Universe on Wednesday.
So that's more a boss's show than mine. Talking Universe has been around in this community for a very long time. They used to stream it from Steve's basement in Grand Machine Studios, and then there were points where they would do it Galace's apartment that he had at Higher Class headquarters. I started taking the full reins of everything. Steve said, let's get Talking Universe onto let's keep you as the primary streamer, because at the time I was streaming a radio show on Friday nights on my own channel, 102 DLG, which they sadly last year lost their music license. It's more Steve's baby than anything. We talk about it. Like, we have a chat where we throw out meetings, what ideas for promo of the week, post of the week, et cetera, et cetera.
So for the folks listening, what is Talk of the Universe and what happens on that show?
Sure. My apologies. Instead of explaining, Talking Universe is our weekly show where we recap what happened in the LFF, what's going on, spoilers, future events, whatever Boss wants to talk about. It's all about the community of the show. So it puts more so the focus on the community and what's coming up than other things. We'll get a deck of the week going. So if you're a new player, this is the show if you want to know what we're really about. Because you'll see promo of the week, post of the week, photo of the week, comment of the week, which is a new thing from the last 8 months. But it's a review show of the week for what happens in the LFF.
Okay. Yeah. So it's Steve's show, but you still run things in the background.
Basically, yes. It's his baby. I run the stuff in the back, which I like doing more than anything else. I used to be on it, but I told Steve, listen, I love doing the background stuff, so please just let me do the background stuff. You, Jeremy, and Chibi handle it. He's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
So we try and make it within an hour and a half. If you're looking for a good time and a way to distress yourself and have a little fun on Wednesday nights, come hang out with us.
Yep. Okay. And finally, on Thursday, I've Expanded the Universe. So what's that show about?
So Expanding the Universe is where you get to see spoilers, upcoming new cards, what Steve's working on, any new games he's working on, and we bring people on to discuss their competitor, what they're designing, the cards that are being designed, etc. So it's more like an informative, a backstage look or behind Gorilla. You basically look into Gorilla position to see what we are designing. So I don't know any other game out there right now, and this is going board game, card game, or anything like that, that does something like this.
That's true.
This is something unique that we decided one day, let's do this. Let's get people on, let's talk about cards and stuff, let's show off art. So maybe we'll bring more people into the game, get more people excited for the game, new stuff coming out. When we do certain things, there's more attention on Thursday mornings and other shows on there. Like I picked lunchtime for the timing because 90% of the time it's from 11 to 1 we're doing this. And that's people's lunchtime from here to the mountain time. You know, people in California and Vegas are just waking up around that time. So it's like a perfect like lunchtime break where you can watch and see your favorite cards being made and seeing what we're talking about as well too. See the design aspect of an actual card game. And if you're a gamer, just in general, you want to see how the game that you love is being designed and seeing what's coming out. So, hey, when this comes out, I know to get this. When this comes out, maybe I'll pass on it like that. So that's the whole point. It's like a little teaser to see what's coming out instead of waiting every end to the end of the month. Hey, this is what's coming out. Hey, this is what's coming out. Or I hate to say, you know, certain other games like, yeah, this is what's coming out. We'll tease you for 2 weeks and then you have to wait another 2 weeks to see what it is. So it's literally just to say, hey, this is what's coming out. Get your money ready.
Right. Yeah. So I actually watched all four of the shows.
I'm pumped. I'm excited for the next 3 months to see where we're going.
Cool. So you run the production on those four shows,
Hmm.
Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then in addition, you also host Monday Night Fights, which is not a streaming show, but what is
No.
Monday Night Fights?
So Monday Night Fights is one of the weekly online events that we have. Myself and Chibi run the weekly events. And basically just come out, test your metal. It's been called Monday Night Locals for many, many people who don't have a locals to go to. So it's more there for you to test out what you're building, getting stuff ready, and winning an event. I love doing it. I love seeing people come play. I just want people to play this game, honestly. That's legitimately why I took over Monday Night Fights because we had a Monday night event. Someone, a good friend of mine, Simon Strauss, aka the Dread Pirate tech support. Simon had to step down for, he's going to be a first time father. So I took over Monday nights and we just been going chugging along since then. So it's been 2.5 years now I've been running Monday Night Fights. I love doing it. I literally come up here in my office. I open up the Zoom. People come in and play. I sit here writing stuff down, getting ideas for the Twitch channel, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not just like people come in and just play games. They also just hang out and
Yeah,
socialize and everything like that. So,
yeah. It's more like an open forum for you to come hang out on a Monday night. Sometimes we'll share I'll share my screen and we'll have Monday Night Raw up if anything interesting is on. But
right. So, I mean, Brian, you do a lot. I imagine there are a number of like challenges for running these shows. You started talking about those things a little bit, but what are some of the challenges of running a show?
making sure everything is ready to go within an hour. So in school, they did teach me to give yourself like a half an hour, 45 minutes of prep time before a show. So you have everything ready to go. Now, if you know the wrestling business, cards subject to change is a big thing. It's always on the poster, it's always there. So in this streaming services, card is always subject to change with 9% of the time. It's not. There's times where I'm scrambling a half an hour before to fill a match spot and I won't find it. Like that's one of the big stresses there of having everything in line ready to go. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. That's how production works. That's how broadcasting works. Not everything is going to be correct the first time around. You can try to make it perfect that first time around, but there's always something that's gonna be a problem, and how you react quickly enough and not stress yourself out is what makes you the better broadcaster, I think.
Okay.
When I first did the dojo, first started just one of the like first two ones, it was me and Boss, and Hold the Line Harry was the first person on dojo. I accidentally hit the power button on my tower. Now I had a different tower than what I have now. The F bombs that came out of my mouth, just not even like you would have to put. I owed about maybe $50 to $100 in the F bombs I dropped. But we didn't go offline. So you hit the power button and says, you sure you want to do this? And I hit the cancel. And I was like, thank God. Steve's like, what the hell just happened? Like, I may have accidentally hit the power button on my tower. But after that, it was just like, you know what? Don't stress it. If it happens, it happens. Like, there's been times where we'll lose power here in New York. in the middle of a stream or Twitch is down or something, I have to cycle it back to like a different format. So Talking Universe used to be on Facebook a lot. We didn't have Twitch at the time. So we went old school one night when Twitch had it. Twitch was down for some reason and I couldn't get on to Twitch. So I was like, okay, we're going back to Facebook. Give me 30 minutes. We'll go live on Facebook. So just the adaptability I kind of learned from broadcasting school that helps me with all this stuff. I mean, if I have Talking Universe, I'm usually in my office at 7 p.m. Dojo, I have everything set up in the morning after I drop the kids off at school. So I literally all I have to do is just come up here and press the start stream button and get everyone in here. Expanding Universe, I do for my laptop, my downstairs. And I can literally put my Bluetooth headset in and walk away, and Steve just goes. If I need to take a picture of stuff, I literally walk over to my thing, hit print screen, and just send it to the person. The Expanding Universe is not really intensive where I have to like spend an hour before, because 90% of the time I have everything in a folder the night before. So I prep for Expanding Universe the night before.
Okay.
If you want to go into broadcasting, this is me being real. Make sure you know how to prepare for stuff. That's all I'm going to say, because stuff could change in an instant. And if you don't know what to do, don't panic. Panicking in broadcasting is the worst thing you can do.
Got it. Some pretty interesting insight. It sounds like your broadcasting education and experience is coming very handy to you.
Yep.
Which is great. Well, I know that you have done some things, doing some things maybe outside of Super Show. So what are some of those things?
I have a family of 4, so that's one of the things. That's one of the things I'm doing. I have a wife of 4 kids, so that's definitely one of the things I'm doing. I am in the middle of designing this game for about a year and a half now. It's called Strike Back, and I'm a big anime Gundam fan, so trying to get like a design down for the game itself has been a pain. I've been through like 6 different iterations. That's like something I'm working on from time to time. I'm trying to bring back my radio show. I put out my test tapes to other radio stations here in the greater tri-state area. If something comes, that means I can work from home and do radio, which is one of the things I love doing. I'm primarily a Super Show lackey for the next, 3 or 4 months, but I would love to bring back my radio show. I'd love to bring back Royal Ramble Radio. Royal Ramble Radio was a pro wrestling, like a Talking Universe for pro wrestling, but there's like 6 million of them right now. So like I said, you have to adapt to broadcasting, so you got to change what you're doing. So anybody wants to think of ideas and run a show with me, please be my guest. I would run a late night show, but I'm usually in bed by midnight. So I'm not old. Well, I'm not that old, but I'm not a spry chicken like I used to be 10, 20 years ago. So
none of us are, Brian.
No.
So we talked about some of those things. You're talking about what's coming down the line for you.
A Grand Impact competitor. I'll tell you that right now.
All right. I know. I was slow on getting the opportunity that you picked up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brian, for coming on my podcast here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Trust me.
So where can folks find you?
You can find me on, it's called X now, at VHS0319. On Instagram, the same as well, too. Twitch.tv/SRG Universe and Twitch.tv/The Amazing VHS. It will be coming back. I just haven't decided what we're going to do. Maybe play Jackbox. There's been a lot of outcry for Jackbox in the community. Maybe we'll start doing that. You may see me also on the Big Picture Premiums from time to time, or you find me on Facebook.
Thank you for listening to the Ron Talks Tabletop Podcast, Super Show Sunday. And until next time, see you later.
Bye, man.